Hi, I'm Seamless, and this will be the 14th 20K tutorial video of the day. It's actually the next day. It's 1 a.m. for me right now. Anyway, this one was requested by Reddit user BASSfreq, spelled like frequency, like freak, F-R-E-Q. And this was an Excision and Space Laces bass. The original will be in the description, and this one gave me troubles. I'll explain why, but here's what I got. It's not exactly it, but it's interesting. I'll explain why. That's what I got. So, if you listen to the original, you'll hear it's obviously different, but it's got interesting quality to it. And here's the thing: when I first heard it, I thought I keyed in on the vocal aspect of it, and then the sort of squelchy mess that the sound actually was, I thought was over-exaggerated vocoder artifacts, like intentionally, forcefully put in vocoder artifacts. And so I proceeded under that assumption. And I also attempted to use Massive because Massive seems to be really, really, really good at just like obscenely squelchy sounds. And there's ways to do that without Massive, but it's not something that I'm so confident with that I could say that I would not want to do it without Massive. Thing is, though, is that I still don't know Massive well enough to really know that, okay, they're making a really squelchy sound, but then this vocal aspect of the sound, is that a wavetable or is that in this vocoder? And I kind of assumed that it was in the vocoder because, again, I thought it was massively vocoded artifacts that were making the big squelch. And I kept listening to it, and over the course of making these videos, these 20K videos, I've been using wave shaping a lot and distortion a lot, and Harmor and otherwise, and then I started to realize that the sound that I'm hearing is not actually a vocoder artifact. Like, there's some in there, clearly, but it's actually a distortion algorithm artifact. It's one that I actually have heard a lot, and I heard it in Harmor using some of the distortion modules. I don't know if they used Harmor. They might have, but it's possible, obviously, to do that without Harmor. You can use probably same type of distortion algorithms in Trash or the Wave Shaper if you know how to make it, which I don't. But so that opened up a whole weird world to me, and what I ended up doing was resampling this FM patch. And then messing around with it. And the way that I messed around with it primarily to create the vastly different vowel sound is through the image format mutation window. Now, you can kind of see what I did here. By default, it's this even line, and then it's tied into the format knob over here. And then it also has the unison engaged, and I'm doing funky things in the unison pitch window, but primarily that what the modulation is being, not the modulation, but the new format flavor is coming from the format knobs drop down window, which is the image format mutation tab. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm doing there, and it creates this interesting sound. What I ended up doing though is that I took, instead of I lowered the higher formats, I lowered some lower formats, but then I cranked up some mid formats. Now, I'm starting to think that using this technique of Harmor resampling, I could make the sound that they made if I knew, or just made something more similar to the original sound. Like I went into this knowing that the FM patch that I made was not even like the correct vowel morphing type. You know what I mean? And what clued me into this being distortion and not exactly vocoding artifacts was that there's actually a part in the song after one of the phrases where a sound that comes in that's not this bass, but it still has the flavor of the bass. It still has that artifact around it. Came in, and then it played, and as it played, the artifacts gradually dissipated. And this made me think, wow, it's weird. They turned off the vocoding slowly, and then I realized, well, they actually just turned the distortion, this weird distortion algorithm off slowly. And I mean, the sound is actually way more complex than I originally gave it credit for, and it's actually so complex now that I can't be sure on any single thing that I'm saying about how the sound works. But this is basically how I would achieve the sound, knowing what I know. And is to use the Harmor resampling. And on top of doing that format thing, I also turned down the sharpness now a little bit. Now, One of the reasons why I actually thought that Harmor sampling was viable for this was that throughout the whole song, that bass plays, there's not a huge amount of variation. The variation is in all the other sounds. The variation is in the cool harmonic harmony bass that they got going on. There's like a secondary squelchy one that's going on, and there's a bunch of other stuff as well. But this one main bass that's happening only plays a few notes in the whole time. And so, and then I ran this in, I ran these two notes into Harmor like this, and then I realized that, I could just put a whole phrase in here and then just chop it up and arrange it in a track, and it would work. So, I mean, again, I don't think that's what they did. I usually just assume that no one else does Harmor resampling. For all I know, they really might have, but this is my method for using it. And has been so far the most complicated sound that I've made in these tutorials. Ugh. I gotta learn Massive. Okay, that's it for this one. I might do some more today. I'm kind of tired, and I got stuff I need to do tomorrow morning. Today, this morning, later. I don't know. I'm on a roll. So, moving on.